All right, Mardu Reanimator. Reanimator, for those not familiar, refers to a style of deck that returns creatures from its graveyard to the battlefield. So Unburial Rites was a card in HA3 that's very good with Reanimator, because Reanimator decks often want to fill their graveyard up so they can put monsters into their bin. In this case, we've got things like Agent, Kenrith, Chupacabra that we're looking to return. And Unburial Rites is a reanimate spell that we can flip over like that. Having a card like Unburial Rites that we can play out of our bin makes effects like Ashiok, Mire Triton, and Calls the Dead effectively draw us cards. Stitcher Supplier too. These cards put things into our bin that we can play from there. In addition to Unburial Rites being playable from our bin, we've got 4 Kroxa and 3 Ox of Agonas here, which we're able to escape from the graveyard. One thing I'm thinking about as I look at this deck here and realizing is that what do you notice is missing from this deck when you look at everything here? Now, kind of removal. I've got 8 pieces of removal here. Something that I am noticing is that there's no artifact or enchantment removal in my 75. Yeah, no way to get rid of Cage or no way to get rid of Cage. There's plenty of Winota removal, chat. Come on, try a little bit. I built the sideboard with Winota in mind. Playing some number of things to take Cage and Leyline off the table is probably smart. Does White have any cycling ways to get rid of those things? They don't, do they? Can I just play like... Can I just play like some Banishing Light? That's probably fine, right? Put a couple of Banishing Light in here, and I'm gonna put a couple of Bedevil. So we have little bit of counterplay there against Cage. Okay, so I think we're good to go. Agent of Treachery. Agent of Treachery here, for reference, is actual, factual, uncastable, hoping to mill this over and not draw it. In the event that we do draw it, Ox of Agonas technically gives us an avenue to get this into our graveyard. That's the basic idea there. So let's go ahead and dive on into some matches here with this one and see how it goes. Not that we'll need a way to get rid of Cage if our matches keep going like they went with the last deck.
Daddy, where's the...
Where the other controller is wherever you put it, dude. Close my door. He almost closed it. He didn't click the latch shut, chap, but he pushed it. He did give it a little push there. More Winota. Yeah, I feel like if you like play a deck like Jund or like an interactive deck like Blue Tempo, you'd probably farm your way up to Mythic pretty quickly, beating all these Winota players. Yeah, we could technically cast Agent off of Fires too, is accurate. Hey, Scholar, thanks for the 15 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. That's fine. You'll survive. It's tough. It's tough being 5, chat. It's tough. It's tough being 5. For those of you that needed an inside look into children. And of course the door didn't close this time. Or we're just dead, right? All right, so this feels like an Ox out matchup. It's probably an Ashiok out matchup too, honestly. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, Griffinson. Maybe we will jump off the ladder for a little bit. Just, I don't, like, the decks we're playing have plans to beat Winota, and, like the last deck we played went 4-0 against Winota. It's just, it would be nice to have a little variety in the games that we're playing. As opposed to mostly hammering out the same matchup. "21 months? That's a lot of months. I'm going to miss you when you take a break with your new child. I'll be back, I promise. Thank you for the tier 2, Yaku. Yeah, this is fine. And cards like that don't impact the board tend to not be very good hive mind. Is the big problem with them. Stitcher Supplier providing a meaningful body for blocking is a big deal. Past the fact that it also just fills the graveyard quicker, like you mentioned. The Treasure Flare deck is 100% on the race plan. That's all it can do. What is deck before this? We played Jund mid-range before this. Archetype is super competitive. So I think we probably just Banishing Light this. Critical mass of lands, for example. I think that's lazy. I think the idea that a particular archetype can't hit land drops is just nonsense. Sometimes you're gonna miss lands in Magic. That's how the game works. So 17 months, Scissor. Welcome back. That's unfortunate. Probably did here. This didn't help after we stumbled. Yeah, I think we're gonna pop on into a constructed event just to try and get a little variety in our matches. We're like 80+% Winota this morning. To try and play against something not that. The events tend to be a bit less competitive than the events tend to be a bit less competitive than than Diamond, Platinum, Mythic on the ladder in my experience. Whoever said Winota Apocalypse was dead on? I don't think that. I think I'm gonna time you out because I disagree with that. It's some nonsense. Is there an argument to be made that some archetypes need more land than others? Sure, but those decks play more lands. For example, I think there's 36 or 37 in here. So like, don't make bad faith arguments about archetypes. Don't make bad faith or stupid arguments about archetypes. Make arguments that are based on sound mathematical principle. Don't just inject your feelings where you could use facts instead. There's 37 lands in this deck. Almost 50% lands. I think I'm bottoming that. We're just looking for things that fill the graveyard up. Not Strung Us. Thank you for the 2 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I think any deck that has a bad Winota matchup is probably going to have a bad matchup against a variety of other things because the deck's not very good. Any deck that has a cohesive game plan and reasonable interaction is a reasonable Winota matchup. Don't really need more white mana, so we're just going to cycle the Triome this turn. Yes, that's good. Good math. For people wondering, 37 lands in Yorion is roughly the equivalent to 27.5 lands in a regular size deck. Yep.
Don't worry, I got this.
Perfect. Hey, look, there's an Agent of Treachery for our Unburial Rites. It's a genuinely good game, puppy. Someone who's also sunk a reasonable amount of time into Raid. No regrets. Do we just assume they have a counterspell this turn? We're just YOLOing anyways. Oh. Oh. Huh. Okay. Alright. Well, you know. Everything went better than expected. Joan Sins, thanks for the half a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Things I didn't expect to resolve for 500, right? Got him. And for a professional, the Stitcher Supplier can hit another agent. Great. How you doing, chat? Professional Magic the Gathering player here, Jeff Hoagland. Showing you how it's done.
I've got
Things you love to see, chat. Alright, I think we just cut the 4 Chupacabras for 4 Agonizing Remorse and call it a day. Maybe I should bring in some Bedevils and some Banishing Lights just in case they have Graveyard Hate. Just preempt it. That's probably true. We'll trim the Mire Triton. Not super good against control. This ain't super good. I think we're bottoming Kenny here. So it looks like it'll likely be a Kroxa game. Get to go Supplier into Kroxa into Calls the Dead, hopefully. Maybe a discard spell in the middle somewhere. Always remember, if you want to criticize or be critical of play that I make on stream, feel free to be constructive and specific, otherwise it's going to be a quick break for you. For example, if you think I should mulligan, say why you think I should mulligan. Is Kroxa your most played card from Theros? It's a solid card we play a lot. Yeah, I like Kroxa a lot as a card. Monster, thanks for the 20 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. It's a very good draw. Sets us pretty far behind here. I think I'm actually just going to play out Banishing Light here. And they're obviously going to exile my graveyard or sack this in response, but that's fine. Because I can Yorion blink this and take something else with it later when they do that. Monster, thanks for the 20 months. Welcome back. Kroxa's a decent pickup there. Our basic planes here looking to scotch awkward, but hopefully we'll draw to the red or black source eventually and be okay. That's an aggressive draw with their castle. Wonderful. See them just stick Yorion here as a big blocker. Now that they have,
We need to move quickly.
I mean, to be fair, they have Absorb in their hand here, right? Like they're technically at a little bit higher life total than the screen would imply. I think I need to kill their Planeswalker here. I don't think I want to let them cast Absorb this turn. I think I'm just going to draw with my castle. And then hopefully we hit, like, a land. And it just, if we hit, like, land, like, what are our best draws here? We need, like, land plus Agonizing Remorse would be pretty good. What did the original Solar Flare reanimate? I don't know, I wasn't playing back then. That's, Yep. I thought there was a Solar Flare deck back during Kamigawa. As referenced there. Yeah, that was the second Solar Flare. Alright, well, since they went to 4, we'll try and kill them in 2 here. Yeah, Angel of Despair. Sounds right. I wasn't playing competitively back then.
I'm known for my excellent timing. No time for a break.
No time for a break. That's a really good one. Probably dead here at this point to the Super Friends.
I'm gonna make you suffer.
Opponent's got a lot of good graveyard hate. Good mix of stuff from them. I'm happy with how I boarded. Let's run it back. If you practice your Arena APM for Treasure Player, if you organize your hand during your main phase, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. You just need to put a stop on your main phase so you can organize your hand before you move to discard. Just like put the cards you care about all the way on one side and then click the rest very quickly. So far, this deck kind of feels like a worse version of Party Bus. It's doing something similar with Agent of Treachery at the top end and Unburial Rites. But we don't have the acceleration or the way to abuse Agent constantly once we get it into play. Seems okay. It's hand sucks keep territory at 6. It's for the 2/3 of a year, Arpai. Welcome back. When will Mardu be good? There's a Mardu Humans deck in this format that I think is super reasonable. I think there's probably a pretty reasonable Mardu Knights deck as well.
Stand by and watch. Oh, I've done the hero thing before. This is hardly my worst defeat.
See if we get swept here or not. We're lucky we'll hit a Kroxa here. Or an Unburial Rites. I'm gonna miss. Hey-oh. Hey-oh. I say hey-oh. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. That's fine. So next turn we can flash this back plus cast this. Is it worth using Kenrith over flashing back rights for value? Yeah, quite possibly. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and have Kenrith attack Narset here, and then I'm just going to go ahead and pass. Because if they go to kill... Oh, that's interesting. Huh? I was going to say, if they go to Conqueror's Death Kenrith, I'll have Kenrith return Kenrith from my graveyard. Now that's not an option. I think this is just happening because they're returning it to my hand, not killing it. And then we're just like replaying this, I guess.
Hone your prowess.
Feels like we're gonna be dead here.
This isn't a fight you can win. I'll protect you.
So I could play and escape Kroxa, which honestly seems pretty good at this point, right? Because none of these get got by Conqueror's Death. They have a 3-mana Teferi in there for later.
I am not making this up as I go.
Kroxa out here dodging riches, right? He will not dodge. Kroxa will unfortunately not dodge Teferi's down tick, though, eventually. So we're going to need to fill the graveyard back up at some point. I hope when I am as old as you, I too know there's a mute button on Twitter. Thanks for the 10 months, Bez. Twitter mute button OP, please nerf. So what do we think about cast Kenrith, haste Kenrith, attack both their planeswalkers? I feel like that's the line. They'll get a walker back in draw step. What does that have to do with the line that I'm taking? Can you articulate yourself instead of just stating what's obvious on the board? Are you saying the fact that they get a walker back during draw step should change my line? If so, why? What do you do instead? I could have also attacked their face here, but I guess they don't have to block necessarily because they could discard a spell. I think I'm supposed to make them choose between which two of their 3 things they get to keep here, basically.
Trust me, you'll thank me later.
At least Kenrith's haste is symmetrical. I think I want to lead on Unburial Rites, because if they draw Graveyard Hate, they could get rid of this. So I expect this to get counterspelled, and then the hope is they don't have a counterspell for this one. It's the way the cookie crumbles.
Let's skip to the good part. I've got time.
Sorry, children. They have another removal spell here. We're super sad. Pretty likely to end up super sad. Wow, this just worked. Okay, well, that's good for our hero.
Hey, that was uncalled for. Let's try this.
So they plus tier. So I have enough mana. So if I do this, I could do this and then haste Kroxa. Alternatively, I could just reanimate. I think I'm going to reanimate Stitcher's Supplier here, because I think filling my graveyard up is more valuable here, so I can leave myself more options down the line. That actually seems great. Exiles their graveyard too in the event that they draw a, what's it called? This was a mistake. So I should have waited, small mistake here, should have waited for my Scryland until after, until after they had a chance to sweep. Good thing to note there. Ox is a great pickup. Maybe I should just escape Kroxa, assuming they have a counterspell. No counterspell, get rewarded. That's pretty ideal. What are you working with over there? I think we're gonna grind them out here. It's been a pretty sick set. A pretty sick set. We get to Yorion or Ox? Maybe. I think I'm attacking their face here. Putting them dead to Kroxa trigger seems very good. How many cards are in libraries? They have 50. I have 48, 41. We're both Yorion decks, so like. Do I calls the dead, or do I just Kroxa? I have 11 cards in here. I think I'm just gonna Kroxa. I guess that's at 3. Them bouncing Kroxa is pretty okay with me too, though, I think, so... I could call and Ox, that's true. Maybe that's the better line. I'd have to give up these lands, but maybe they just don't matter. I don't know, dealing damage to them with this feels really appealing. Yes, you have bounced my draw 3, opponent. Pretty sweet grind there. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Quality set of magic. Let's see, in super reasonable, get to bottom fires. Need to hit some lands here, obviously, but we got a lot of lands in our deck, and we're on the draw here. It's a nice draw on 1. Another Yorion matchup. Looks like our gambit of joining a constructed event to get away from Minota is working. Yeah, I'm in for guaranteed land 5, I think, here. And remember, one of the sweet things about Ashiok in these decks that leverage their graveyard is Ashiok exiles the opponent's yard regardless of who Ashiok is milling. So Ashiok is effectively exile your yard, mill 4 every turn, which is stellar for us. Huh? Something worth noting here for those not familiar with this interaction. Fires of Invention does not let you skip the casting costs on Unburial Rites. So you cannot play Fires and then flashback Rites for free. Ashiok does not stop Luca, unfortunately. Luca is not searching. Is Chupacabra just dumb in this deck? Should this just be something else? Should I just have the 4 discard spells in my main deck and have something else in my sideboard? We're in a constructed event this set, so we'll get a chance to play it, but so far in my games playing, I feel like I should just get rid of this. Yeah, it should just be something else cheaper interactive. Yeah. I think this as a main deck is probably reasonable. And then like more spot, like 2 duress, 2 to 3 duress, and like another removal spell in the sideboard for the Winota matchup. It's probably what I want. Murderous Rider. Huh. That could be an okay thought. I don't know. 3's a lot. I kind of like, I feel like the key to beating Winota is efficiency. You need to be tempoing their threats a lot of the time. Like holding up 3 mana to kill Winota tends to be a big deal. Holding up 1 to 2 mana, a lot less of a big deal in a lot of instances. Ooh, Justice Strike's a reasonable suggestion. I don't hate that one. 4 Fatal Push. You know, it's funny. Instead of 27 months Navier. You know, and actually it's kind of an interesting thought about, you know, how metagames dictate what cards see play. I actually don't think Fatal Push would be very good in this format right now. Because, like, there isn't a ready supply of fetch lands to make triggering Revolt trivial. And, like, being able to kill Winota and Legion War Boss in the premier aggressive deck right now is a big deal. We played Fall of the Thran in Historic. We have. It's pretty slow and clunky. This format is fairly aggressive. If Field of the Dead was actually good, Fall of the Thran would probably be reasonable, but Field of the Dead isn't particularly competitive in this format. It's not very popular. Yet Field of the Dead is banned in Pioneer. Yep, Pioneer. Oh, Pioneer. I mean, I love the Yarok Field deck, but, like, I'm also painfully aware of, like, whether or not it's good, bad, or otherwise. And it's definitely just okay. I'm aware that, like, I like it because of the types of games it plays. Am I supposed to restart my client? No, they're ticking down here. Yay, inactivity timers. While we're waiting for our opponent to time out here, I would just like to take a second to shill my website, try and do this once per historic video. If you're looking for great historic decks, my website's always been a great resource. And now that there's double digits worth of decks up here, I've also added some search features. So you can search based on power level, color, or archetypes. Let's say you're looking for an aggro deck in historic, you can hit find and find a great selection of aggro decks. If you've never been to my site before, you can click into any of these pages, and there's a short description, the current deck list I would play for that archetype, as well as videos of me playing it down at the bottom. One of the great things about the website update 2 is because I'm classifying decks based on power level, I'm going to be expanding the number of decks up there over the summer and into the fall. We'll be able to add some decks that maybe aren't as strictly competitive but are exceptionally sweet. So we're going to flesh out a meme section on there. The Treasure Flare deck we're going to play today will probably be the first deck in the meme section. We'll add some more fan favorites as we play things. This seems reasonable. We'll bottom the Treachery. Hopefully Stitcher Supplier finds us some gas. Treasure Flare clearly belongs in Prove It. Yep. Saffron Olive was apparently annoyed that I responded to one of his tweets, and he asked me to untag him in the responses, and I just responded with a picture of me highlighting the mute conversation option. And then I love all the Magic players out there who are like actuallying me, telling me I can untag Saffron. I'm aware I can untag people in my responses. My point was, if you don't want to be in a conversation on Twitter, you have control of that yourself. You don't have to depend on the other person out of the good graces of their heart doing extra work on their part to untag you. So much shorter than typing out a response saying, hey, I don't want to see this, untag me. Maybe just use the social media features. Cut the line submissions are $100, Crunchy. Like, as someone who often uses the mute conversation feature, it's less work. The mute conversation feature is great. Social media, Twitter would be unusable if we didn't. Twitter was much worse before that feature was added. This is almost kind of a tough decision. Do I play this out and only use one of my mana, or do I pay 4 and draw a card? My health total likely doesn't matter in this matchup. The upside to doing this is I can hit other useful things in my bin. However, I already have a Kenrith in here, so I think I'm just going to pass and draw a card. Huh. That's an Ox. I'm gonna smack Teferi again. What if we just Stitcher Supplier here? And then draw a card if we don't hit a Kroxa? I think I like that. Maybe paying 8 is too much. At any cost though, chat. At any cost. Hey, Potter Goes Gaming, thanks for the 5 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Anytime there's a community thing that happens, like with Austin, like with ban list updates, you can pretty much always assume there's a command in chat for it. Deputy detention's interesting. This makes my aggressive use of my health total as a resource a little bit worse here, I think. Hey, thanks for the quarter of a year, Pancake Snake. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Been bonking people on the head with Storm Herald meme, and your content's got me back in the game. I'm glad you're enjoying it. That one's a lot of fun. I don't even think that deck's just a meme. I've got that one in the high potential section of the website. I think it has a lot going on for it. Look at that. I gave their creature haste, chat. I'm such a giver. At some point, this thing's going to get killed, and we're going to get to mill 6, and it's going to be glorious. Next turn, depending on what we draw, we're probably starting with Ox, and we'll see where we go from there. If you're not familiar with who Austin is, just don't worry about it. Your life's better without random Magic organized play drama. Yeah, Rites has been a super reasonable card. Big agree. they're playing counter spells. Wrong colors for Despark. Yeah, I could see Despark being playable. You know, it's funny, honestly, having an idle game, a half idle game like Raid that's on mobile, actually, it's something that keeps me off of Twitter and other social media a lot, because, like, when I'm, like, idly sitting there for a few minutes, instead of, like, opening social media on my phone, I usually open Raid these days. Which is a nice change of pace.
I'll protect you.
Joke's on you, I was gonna discard this card anyways. This is a bold strategy, Cotton. See if it pays off for him here. We start with this. What am I Teferi bouncing? I feel like it's just Deputy. I feel like I'd like this. Churn through some cards here. I think we just start stone raining them. We could have rights Kenny and attacked for a lot. That's true. That's true.
Only time will tell.
So I get to do this. And then I get to do this. Get back Agent of Treachery. I get to take this. American Gamer, thanks for the 22 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. If we take it up blue lands, we can cast our agents. I mean, Fire lets us cast. Fires lets us cast our agents too. I guess we kind of have to worry about decking out. This technically mills us 12 if their deputies go away. Thought it was impossible for Yorion deck to deck, right? That's true. If we take more stuff, we're going to start drawing with agents. We're going to get to escape Kenrith and haste it, or escape Kroxa and haste it this turn. I think we're again just on the Chups out Remorse. And actually, I'm going to leave a couple of Chupacabras in and split them with Mire Triton so we can kill their deputies on occasion. That's probably reasonable. Could also repeatedly fireball them by reanimating Kroxa with Kenrith. That's true. Actually, that's a good line. Kenrith can reanimate Kroxa draw step. Yep. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. I love my Taco Bell Ravenous Chalupa. Oh, Magic player. I mean, so part of the reason why Doom Whisperer is not playable is in your use of the word there, Gecko. Because, like, you put quotes around value. Doom Whisperer is not a value card. Doom Whisperer doesn't generate any actual card advantage when it comes into play and just gets hit by a removal spell right away. Have a good meeting, Cheetos. The Ravenous Chalupa is the kind of sponsored content Wizards needs to make. Yep. Leap Bert, thanks for the 2/3 year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Christy and I finished binge watching Upload the other night, which was actually a show that we played a bounty board ad for earlier this week. It was really good. And one of the kind of memes in this show is like there's just like they live in like a virtual, one of the characters is in like a virtual world, and like there's random pop-up advertisements with different companies mashed together. I think Intel Oscar Mayer was one of the company mashups. Should the Just Guy Triome be worth it to activate Kenny in the long game? I don't think so. I think, on average, when we can reanimate with him, we'd rather just be reanimating. Agent of Treachery in hand sucks a little bit, but eventually we'll either draw Fires to cast it via Fires, or we'll be able to discard it to Ox and then reanimate it. Okay, and there's an Unburial Rites here, so Ashiok gets 4 shots at an Agent of Treachery next turn to just floop that into play on turn 4. I need a second set of opinions. Is the companion command too aggressive? There's a chance my companion's command is too aggressive. Should we reconsider the verbiage? Ashiok draws Kroxa here, just quite excellent. I'm Canadian. Everything's too aggressive. Yellow.
Trust me, I have a plan.
Whew! Oh, there's so many toys in our bin, chat. We have so many toys. I really don't want to escape any of those. Am I just playing this for the turn? I think I'm just playing this for the turn. I think I'm in for another Ashiok. I kind of just want, like, endless crap in my graveyard. Like, I've already got another land rolled up here. That's true. We are going to be sad if they draw a piece of graveyard hate. I don't get to leverage what's in the bin.
I've got time.
Would make me less sad. No, we have a command for it, Wargy. Man, we just cannot find a second Agent of Treachery, huh? Well, I don't want to leave you disappointed, Wargy. Aim to please. Wouldn't be surprised to see Yorion come down here and blink their prince and their planeswalker, but this also just, like, not a big deal. So we'll get a draw step. We could also see them, like, kill my remaining zombie and then attack my Ashiok down so I don't get to mill myself some more. Archon of Sun's Grace, sure.
Oh, I've done the hero thing before.
This game feels pretty over. We're gonna bottom anything that's not Agent of Treachery here. I get 4 shots Agent of Treachery. Sick. Charming Prince does free things from mind control effects, because it targets creatures you own. Still 40 cards in my deck, so I think we're playing Ashiok and milling myself some more. 20 cards in my bin. There's a lot of value in there. Want to keep filling it up. For those of you who aren't familiar with Magic Arena, we've got the 3 parts of our hand here. Actual hand. Purple smoke is graveyard. Blue smoke is companion zone. I'm pretty solidly of the opinion. I think the companion mechanic is fine, and they missed on the numbers on a couple of them. Where's the adventure area? I think adventure cards are yellow. Are cards on an adventure yellow smoke? They all have various colors of smoke that trail off of them. You think Luris was too pushed out the door? Lukewarm take, a card like Luris being too good in Vintage and Legacy doesn't mean it's not okay to print it. Is Luris is barely seeing play in Standard, right? Oh, I should probably lead on Memorial. I think Yorion's probably not okay even without. I think even if you get rid of Agent, Yorion's probably still too good. I think 20 cards was not enough. I think Yorion either should have been plus 40 cards, or Yorion and Laturi should have had their companion requirements flipped. I really hope they have a 4-mana ramp spell in their hand right now that Ashiok's turning off. That would be great. Like, the big problem with Yorion is Yorion both has the best abilities and stat line for its mana cost, and it has the easiest requirement to meet. Why does the companion with the best text box also have the easiest requirement to meet? It makes no sense. Am I going to participate in the next PT? Oh, honey, you must be new here. I don't play in events that qualify me for Wizards of the Coast events, and Wizards of the Coast doesn't like to work with me because I occasionally say mean things about the things that they do. So no, I will not be playing in or commentating on the upcoming Pro Tour event. Well, if we hit a land next turn, the game is probably over because I get to Agent of Treachery them plus Yorion. That's unfortunate. I could also hit an Unburial Rites here. Okay, sweet. Brian Ruther, thank you for the 4 years of support. Thank you. That's an incredibly long time. Enjoy your castle on your plot of Hooglandia. Thanks for keeping me around. So flashback is no additional cost, unlike Jumpstart. Correct, yeah. Flashback is you literally just get to play it from your graveyard for its cost. If they offered what I have commented about 100%, I enjoy doing commentary of tournaments. Especially commentary where I wouldn't have to leave my house. Yeah, that sounds great. Hooglandia opens are wonderful. If I'm being honest, I would be surprised if they would pay the rate I would ask them to pay me if they required me to be on site to do commentary for something. But doing commentary from my home, sure. Yeah, that's super cheap. You can always find out when the next Hoots tournament is scheduled for by using !next Hoots in chat. Figure of Destiny, thanks for 11 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I'm just excited for Monday because, like, even when I like a format, knowing that a ban list update is impending, it makes me not, like, part of me is wondering, like, this deck's been sweet, but, like, no one should craft this deck until Monday, right? Because they could be changing companions or banning things in it, and this deck might not be playable come Monday. Like... I don't know. I might actually take... I think I might actually take... I might only be live one of the 2 days this weekend, because I kind of feel like... If Haley wasn't due any day, I would have taken a bunch of days off this week extra, because it feels like streaming now is kind of a waste while we're waiting for changes. I really hate that they just generically announce, hey, formats are changing. I wish they would say, hey, these are the ban list changes we're making, and they take effect next Monday. Yeah, I'm really hoping any changes they make to Historic are... I really wish any changes they make to Historic are hopefully just like things like this was a problem in Standard, and it'll probably be a change in Historic. We're one card short of escaping Kroxa here. So we'll attack before playing a land to see if they block. They're going to get to escape Uro next turn. If Wizards of the Coast bans Winota in Historic after a week and a half's worth of data, when they let Jeskai Luka stew in Standard for over a month, it would easily be one of the most obnoxious things they've done in a long time. So I'm really hoping that that's not what they're going to do with Historic. Because if they do that to Historic after how long they left Standard rot, it would just be maddening. It's not about selling packs. I think that's a really bad faith take. Never attribute to Malice that which is adequately explained by incompetence. I don't think it has anything to do with selling booster packs. And I think the people saying that are just projecting. If anything, having a crappy standard format will hurt their pack sales. Past that, this isn't like an Oko situation where they need to actually ban Luca. They don't. In fact, they shouldn't ban anything. They shouldn't be banning anything from this latest set, in my opinion. I think we're dead here. Just too many zombies a little bit too quick. I think banning Agent is best. I would ban Agent and Teferi. I think the people are saying they want to ban Fires of Invention or off base. I think with Teferi out of the way, Fires of Invention has a lot of counterplay to it. I think I lead on Kroxa here because Kroxa into Calls the Dead sets me up to escape Kroxa on 4. You think Agent is really that powerful? Yes. I think Agent is the best top end in both standard and historic right now. I think they printed Ulamog into historic, and it's not even close to being the best top end you can play in this format. That's what I think. I think preemptively banning cards like Wilderness Reclamation makes a lot of sense. And I do think that if they ban Teferi, they need to ban Wilderness Reclamation. I actually don't want to do this, because I don't want to exile everything else in my bin, I don't think. So I'm just going to go Mire Triton, Mire Triton. Now, the downside to this play that I'm taking here is they could end step Growth Spiral, untap Golos, Bajuka Bog me, is a real concern. Okay, didn't get bogged. Step 1. I think that's enough, James. Okay, so we're going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and attack for 6 here. We're going to play Stitcher Supplier, mill this Agent. Hey, good games, ball. We're going to fetch our planes here. Play out Mire Triton. And then we'll escape the Ox and draw 3. If we get, like, Aether Gusted here, it's, like, annoying, but not the end of the world. We can just throw this right on top and then draw 3 next turn. Sure. Man, where's an Unburial Rites when you want one? Goodbye Uro and all of their stuff. This also fills our... Ashiok is probably better than Unburial Rites there, if we're being honest. Ashiok just being like a put 20 cards in your bin to escape with is just so good. I'm gonna try again next turn if that's okay. It's a little windy in this game, chat. You got it. Alright, third time's the charm, chat. Now that's what I'm talking about. We even hit the 7th land, so we can cast it through the +2 here. I don't think I'm out of basics. Yeah, we still have 3 basics in our deck. Yeah, we get to get Agent the Conqueror's Death here. What are you doing, youngest son? These RNG made that since R&D has prioritized board states and combat, Planeswalkers interactions, having other effects to deal with creatures, a significantly difficult time balancing cards, and that permanents are too powerful at the end of the. I don't think that matters. I think you're asking the wrong question. I think the question you're actually asking yourself there is largely irrelevant. I think the idea that Wizards of the Coast needs to be successful at properly balancing things is something that I think is an attitude that I wish would change with Magic players. The idea that if every set, the idea that bannings are a failure state is nonsense in my opinion. Bannings are a tool that Wizards of the Coast should feel free to use as much as they need to or as little as they need to. And the idea that when they have to ban something they've failed, I think is an attitude that we would all be best served to break ourselves of. Down to 1. Bold strategy, Cotton. Did you manually tap differently to escape Ox that died in combat? Yes, I could have. That's a good observation. I'll be out in a minute, dude. I promise I did not forget about you. You're my favorite 5-year-old. Even if you're crazy. Jacob is my favorite 6-year-old. You know how this works. You're not new. Alright, do you have a spell? I would like your spell. Okay. So then we get to Stitcher Supplier. And then Supplier puts enough cards in the bin that we could Ox here. I think I'm okay with that. I get to leave an Agent of Treachery in here. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to Kenrith haste there. I don't know. I think all roads are leading to Rome here. Yeah, I could have killed them by playing Kroxa, but this was fancier, so... This was fancier. I gotta do a wrap-up, and then I'm gonna come on out, okay? I know this is gonna surprise you, but your older brother is way more patient than you are. He's way more patient than you. I love you too, but your brother is way more patient than you are. All right. Anyways, as far as this was concerned, this is actually a lot of fun. It felt like with Agent and Rites and Yorion, we had the tools to really go long. We beat up all the other mid-range and control decks and ramp decks that we played against. Ravenous Chupacabra felt really clunky and slow. I think this is a card I would cut. I think the very easy change is just slide copies of Agonizing Remorse into the main deck here. I think I'd like a couple extra discard spells in the sideboard for the control matchup, and then I'd like a couple other pieces of spot removal, so that way we can have plenty of 2-mana spot removal in the Winota matchup, I think. So I think, like, up a Heartless Act, up a Bedevil, so we have 10 pieces of instant speed removal against Winota is probably about where I want to be. If you're looking for a sweet deck that can go over the top of people, I think this one seems very reasonable. I would recommend not crafting anything until Monday, because we're going to have both a ban list update and possibly a functional change in how companions work on Monday. I'm going to hit a quick ad roll, and I'm going to go set up Minecraft behind me in the basement. And when I get back, we're gonna play a meme deck. What do we got? This deck was featured on coverage at the Open this last weekend. We're going to treasure hunt some Zenith players. I'll be back in just a minute. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere.